Welcome parents to the third episode of MiniVits, a series of mini episodes aimed at providing condensed information on your child's nutrition and health. I'm your host Nicola with my co-host Chris. Today we're going to delve into the world of children's nutrition to help you raise healthy and of course happy kids. Today we're putting the spotlight on a nutrient that plays a crucial role in your child's development, and that's folate.
Exactly. So let's crack on with firstly kind of understanding folate. So let's start with the basics. You might be asking yourself, what exactly is folate and why is it so important? Why does it require a separate episode? And of course, how is that related to your children's health and well-being? So folate, also known as vitamin B9, is a water-soluble vitamin that's essential for cell division and growth. Folic acid helps make healthy red blood cells, which carry oxygen all around your body. If your kid does not have enough folic acid or folate, the body cannot make it basically makes abnormally large red blood cells that do not work properly. And folate is particularly crucial during periods of rapid growth, such as infancy and early childhood. It also plays a key role in DNA synthesis and repair, making it vital for proper brain development and, of course, function in your children. Folate deficiency, if you're not getting enough folate, can lead to a range of health issues, including folate deficiency anemia, delayed growth and development, and even neurological problems, especially when pregnant women have a folate deficiency. And it can also increase in pregnant women the risk of neural tube defects in the developing fetus. This causes folate deficiency anemia, of course, or else called megaloblastic anemia. That's the second name. Which can cause tiredness, weakness, diarrhea, loss of appetite, severe weight loss, and some other symptoms.
And yikes, nobody wants those, do they? I'm very glad that you said that big long word as well. So, what can parents do to make sure their kiddos are getting enough folate in their diets? Well, it's all about serving up a buffet of folate filled foods. Get creative in the kitchen with veggie packed stir fries, bean burritos, or fruit smoothies. And hey, don't forget the importance of leading by example. If your kiddos see you chowing down on those leafy greens, they might just follow suit. Folate is naturally found in foods like leafy green vegetables, citrus fruits as well, beans, and also whole grains. It's also added to many fortified foods like breakfast cereals. Now, let's give you some ideas of food rich in folate. So, some particularly good sources of folate can include, of course, those green leafy vegetables. That could be spinach, it could be kale, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and broccoli. Things like peas, lentils, and beans, including your chickpeas and, of course, your black eyed peas. Yeast and beef extracts, and I know, some love it, some don't, but that includes Marmite and Bovril. Oranges and orange juice, that's one that, many kids seem to be quite happy to have a go with. Wheat bran and other whole grain foods. We've also got some meats as well, so poultry, pork, shellfish, but also liver, and of course those fortified foods. Many fortified foods have added folic acid, and including some brands of breakfast cereals. Now, despite its availability in a variety of different foods, as we've just mentioned, it sometimes may require a little bit of backup. Some children may still not get enough folate in their diets, which is why supplementation or fortified foods can be important. Supplementation must always be discussed with your GP, paediatrician, or of course your registered dietitian. Now, to treat anemia, the usual dose for adults and children over 1 year old is 5 mg, so 5 milligram, taken once a day. Sometimes the dose is increased to 15 milligrams a day. If your child is under 12 months old, the doctor will use your child's weight to work out the right dose for them. And it's usually taken for about 4 months.
Yeah, I remember during my second placement, it was the first time I came across Bovril. Didn't know what was it before. Never had it, and doesn't sound very appetizing. But if you're into it, definitely it's a good source of folate. Now, the best way to ensure an adequate intake of folate is to provide a balanced diet rich in folate-containing foods like the ones Nicola just mentioned. Encouraging your child to eat a variety of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, as Nicola said earlier, can help meet those folate needs. Um, to if I was to give you one simple way to incorporate folate-rich foods into meals and snacks, would be, for example, to add spinach or broccoli to your child's omelets if they're into them, or smoothies. For example, you can add spinach, frozen spinach in smoothies. It won't taste anything basically, and it will add the folate that your children basically need. Or, for example, serve lentil soup as a nutritious lunch option. Or, for example, offer oranges or strawberries as a tasty snack for your little ones. It's also helpful to involve children, of course, in meal preparation, as we mentioned in previous episodes, and grocery shopping, of course, to encourage exploration of new foods.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you've mentioned some really great suggestions there, Chris, as well. Now, are there any other factors that parents should consider when it comes to folate and their child's nutrition?
Yes, so it's important to be aware of cooking methods and how those can affect folate levels in foods. For example, boiling your vegetables can cause some loss of folate, so steaming or microwaving them may be better options. Additionally, limiting intake of processed foods, which are often low in folate and other nutrients. So, processed foods might be chips, any quote unquote junk food you might get, any, I don't know, sweets, chocolates, chocolate bars, things like that, um, are often low in folate and other nutrients. So, encouraging not consuming many of them, and then going for the less processed options like we mentioned earlier, is a great thing to do. Also, um, of course, as we always say, encouraging regular physical activity can contribute to overall health and well-being, so make sure you always do that as part, not only um, focus on your children's nutrition, but making sure they're active. So let's move on to some final questions, I think, Nicola. So I wanted to ask you if there's a recommended daily intake of folate for children.
Yeah, and absolutely there is, Chris. So in the UK, we have reference nutrient intakes, and for folate, this does really vary by age. So if we're looking at young children, so those between 0 up to about 12 months old, what we recommend is actually 50 micrograms per day. Now, when they jump up to that next age group between 1 and 3 years old, this increases slightly to 70 micrograms per day. 4 to 6 year olds, this jumps even further to 100 micrograms per day, and 7 to 10 year olds require 150 micrograms per day. So, what we really see there with folate is actually it does increase as our children are growing as well.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense, like in most nutrients. So another question that someone might ask themselves, a parent, would be: can you overdose on folate? Like, can a kid turn into a walking spinach zombie?
Well, we hope not. And what we know about that is it's really not likely. While too much folate from supplements can cause, some tummy issues, getting it from food is totally safe. So load up on those veggies, guilt free, really. Now, folate toxicity from food sources is very rare. However, excessive intake from supplements can potentially mask symptoms of vitamin B12 deficiency and may have other adverse effects. It's always best to follow the recommended intake levels and consult with your healthcare providers before giving children supplements.
Yeah, totally. As we always say, make sure you um, basically ask your doctor or your registered dietitian before taking those supplements to help find out the best dose for your children in case they need some extra supplementation, of course. So, well, folks, I think that's all for today's episode of MiniVits. Join us next time as we continue to explore ways to keep our little ones happy and healthy. So, parents out there, keep fueling those little children with folate-rich goodness. Until next time, stay healthy and, of course, happy.